Hey everyone, it's Lizzie and welcome back to my channel. We are going to go ahead and dive into one of our friends' budget. I am going to be coming up with a plan on how to map out her paycheck budget based on the information that she provided me. So this individual has quite a bit of debt. I would say the quote unquote normal debt that we always hear about in our community. So if you guys are interested to see how I would break down this budget, then keep on watching. She gets paid bi-weekly and her goal is to become debt-free and to have a fully funded emergency fund of at least $10,000. And she also wants to be able to tithe faithfully and regularly. So right now with her financial situation, it's hard for her to incorporate that in her budget because her money is kind of tight and she is just trying to figure out how to handle paying off debt and everything. So if you are in a similar boat, then definitely stick around to hear what my recommendations are. Just know that budgeting, it's not a one size fits all, okay? It's not in like this little box where this is how you have to map out your finances. Everyone's financial situation is different. So what I recommend, it may not work for everyone, but this is just my opinion and how I would do something if I were in your shoes. The very first thing that you are going to want to do is write in on your calendar your bills. I just filled in all of the bills. I put in the dollar sign of when her paydays are. And then right down here at the bottom, I just wrote in the numbers that she provided me. This is the total debt, not including her mortgage. You will notice that she has collections, which that is pressing debt. So like if you have a tax bill that you have to pay, that is pressing debt. That is the most important thing that you should focus on, along with any collections, because collections really affect your credit score. You want to make sure that you clear that up. You see that there are collections. She has a car loan, quite a few personal loans, and credit card balances. This is the total $22,899.20. Let's go ahead and just figure out your basics. So what I did, I filled out the bill tracker. Now the bill tracker is the most important piece of the budgeting puzzle. What I love about the bill tracker is that you can see everything clearly on one spreadsheet. You see your bill date, what is your total amount due, and you also see when your pay schedule is. So you can fill out your paydays up at the top, and then you will divide up your bill based on the number of paydays leading up to the day that you have to have that fully funded, meaning you have to have that in your bank account to pay the bill. I highlight when I know she needs to have the total in her bank account for a particular bill. So for example, her mortgage is due on the 14th and her mortgage is $486. For it to be paid on the 14th, she needs to make sure that she has this fully funded by the 6th. So what I did here, I just took that and I divided it by 2. $243 she should set aside from that paycheck for her mortgage on the 20th. And then also on the 3rd of June is when she should have it fully completed and the money ready to pay by the 14th. So when you divide up your bills this way, it doesn't overwhelm you where you're going to take a chunk of your money from one paycheck and pay that bill in full. It's just way too much. It's overwhelming. So I really like the bill tracker, and this really is the method that just completely changed our life when it came to organizing our finances, and I know it can you too. So just write it up on a piece of paper and divide up your bills in this manner. So that's what I went ahead and did. Using this worksheet, what you'll do when you go to your paycheck budget, you'll put in your income amount, and then on the paycheck budget I have this percentage formula. Here's the thing with the percentage formula. I did this when we were in debt. We did live off of 80% from our income for our expenses. And that's what I recommend you do. You're gonna take 80% and you're gonna apply it for your expenses. And that's gonna be your goal to live off of. If there are certain things that you have it as a part of your expenses that exceed this dollar amount, you may want to consider cutting back a few subscriptions, but I'll get to my recommendations at the end of this. But that's just kind of a general sense of how this percentage formula method works. So 80% of her income, 10% is going to be to goal, which is for her to become debt free, to save. And then she did say that she wants to tithe. Her goal is to tithe faithfully. So tithing is 10%. Take your income, which is the $14.69, and you're going to multiply it by the percentage, and it's going to give you the number. So you'll reference this percentage formula as you complete your budget, and you're going to see, there might be some things that I could not spend money on, because your number one goal right now is to build your emergency fund and become debt free. The second part of this paycheck budget is the giving. So we just carry that number down, and then you have your remaining money that you're going to budget out for. So now this is the expense section. We are getting these numbers from this worksheet right here. So what you'll do, you're going to go down this column and you're going to check mark off when you have written that number in your paycheck worksheet. So that's what I've done. I've written in all of her expenses that are due on that given day that we have to set money aside for. So her total expenses for this comes to $1,018.50, leaving her with $304.82 to budget out for. She still has other things that she budgets out for. So that's what this category section is. So she has her gas, groceries, household, and a miscellaneous is what she gave me. So she budgets out about $80 a month for gas, $300 for groceries, $50 for household, and then $150 for miscellaneous. So I just divided it into two because she gets paid twice a month. $290 is her total for this. If we take our calculator and we reference back to this 80%, we're going to take the 1018.50 and we're going to add in the 290, and we're at 1308.50 for her spending. So we've obviously exceeded what the expense number of our goal is. Okay, now this is because if you see here, she has a lot of debt, and that is taking the bulk of what that 80% formula method is. So what is remaining is only $14.82. If we factor in this tithe, so she says that right now she's not tithing, but her goal is to tithe. I personally believe that you should tithe throughout your journey because you're going to see how God moves, and you could completely disagree with me. That's okay. We don't have to agree, but I'm just going based on what she wants to do. And we had given 10% throughout our debt payoff journey, and God showed up in ways that we just couldn't explain. I would highly recommend to tithe. However, if you are not comfortable, if you are not wanting to do it with a cheerful heart, then you can apply this 146 and put it to your emergency fund. So now you're at a zero-based budget and you can move on to the next payday. I've written in her paycheck number 2 for May. Same pay, all of this remains the same. However, the difference is her expenses. There are a couple of subscriptions that I see here. So she has Disney Plus, YouTube, Stars, but now her expenses for this paycheck is $1,008, leaving her with a remaining balance of $315.32. And we're going to do the same breakdown for her category. So this did not change, but her remaining balance now, it comes to $25.32. This is if she were to tithe the 146. I would personally tithe so that way you can see God's blessing in your finances, in your life. Believe me, allow me to be a testimony and share our testimony that He can provide for you if you trust in Him. This is my personal recommendation on how I would map out the budget. So this is where I'm going to share my heart, especially if she feels the same way that I do. If she were to leave everything like this, she would apply $25.32 to build her emergency fund up to that $1,000, and then she can work on paying off debt. That is what I recommend, doing things in that order. Oh, and I also wrote in her June calendar view just to kind of map everything out. Now allow me to give you my personal recommendations for her or for anyone that is in a similar boat. So first things first, let me flip to this page. The number one thing that I recommend to you, there are two parts of a budget equation. There's your income and there's your expenses. So either you can lower your expenses or you can increase your income to give you the result that you're looking for. So in your case, you're very tight, and I can see that you are very tight on your finances, and there's only so much that you can get rid of. One thing that I recommend to you, you might want to cut back on a couple of subscriptions. I know that they're only like $10, $8, things like that, but do you need YouTube, Disney, and Stars? You might want to keep like one of them. I don't know. That's just my thought on that, to save as much as you can. Now, the next thing that is taking a big toll and a big chunk of your finances are your debt payments. I'm not sure, and it's all based on credit. You can possibly looking into a home equity line of credit. A home equity line of credit, you can use that, the equity on your home, so that way you can consolidate some of your debt and it doesn't have as much of an interest on it. Like a credit card, you could be paying your $35 minimum payment on this card, but if you are just paying the minimum, there is interest that is being applied to that because you are keeping a balance on that card. The same thing with personal loans. Personal loans have such a high interest rate. I used to work at a bank, so I'm very familiar with loans and interest rates. So one thing, if you have the option, if you have the equity available in your home, I'm not sure what your home is worth right now, but getting a home equity, you borrow the equity from your home and you can have that as a revolving credit. So you can say, I'm going to use that money to consolidate some of these loans and put it to that home equity, and you're making the one payment and it is a much less interest rate getting a home equity. So see about doing that. There are consolidation loans. I definitely recommend that you try to consolidate some of these. There are credit cards that you can get that is like 0% interest for 24 months or something like that. There are many promotions that are around. So see about getting that card and consolidating some of these cards, and then cut up the darn card. Cut it up. Don't close it because that affects your credit. Cut it up. Don't use the card anymore because you're going to dig yourself deeper into a hole. So try not to do that. Do not take out any more credit cards and have it in your wallet to use it. Just don't do it. Not at this point that you're at right now. Don't do that. I don't know what your job is, but you might want to take on a second job, something that can work around your schedule. I know people that have done DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart. Find a way that you can earn a little extra income, because the more income that you have, the more freedom that you can apply to your debt. But first things first, I would look into subscriptions that you can possibly cut back on. It's just temporary, but the $8, the $10, that can help you put it towards your savings and your debt payoff, because that is what you are really wanting to do. And then the next thing I recommend is consolidating your debt. Look into a home equity line of credit, maybe rolling over, doing a balance transfer on your credit cards. The third thing is to see about getting some extra income somehow. Ask for overtime if you have the option in your job. Try to look for something that can work around your schedule, but see if you can increase your income just a bit so that way it can help you. Something else that I've heard people do, and I don't know how you feel about it, but hey, these are just things that I have heard or read about. But when it comes to any gifts that you receive, like for birthdays or holidays, ask for money. I know this may not be a popular opinion, but that's something that can help you. And that is a gift. That is helping you reach the goals that you want. And maybe you can use that to put it towards your debt. That may be extreme. Another thing you might want to consider is, I don't know, looking to sell your vehicle. This is something that many people have done. We did it, and that will free up that $290 that you are applying for your car. This is something that is also doable, and getting a used vehicle that is less costly, that you can maybe scramble up some funds to get that. We did that twice. Okay, so it is something that is manageable. It is doable. It just takes some sacrifice, and it really makes it so people look at you a little funny. But this is your journey. What are you willing to do to reach the goal that you want? Are you sick and tired of worrying about your finances, stressing over the debt? Stop looking at other people and what they're gonna think of you. Stop thinking about that, because it's not about them. They're not in your shoes. I'm not in your shoes. I don't know what lifestyle you are living, but right now you are in debt. And I'm sure that you are feeling that suffocation. It's gonna take you to do some weird stuff, to live well below your means. Maybe start couponing. I don't know. Do the darn thing. But if you have that, and please know my heart on this, I don't mean to belittle you or anything. We were in the same boat. I'm speaking to me too back then. I went through this and we changed our lifestyle and we became frugal and we really thought hard about certain things. We cut on subscriptions. Like, we had no TV. We just watched everything for free. But do those things. I'm telling you that the moment that you start making those decisions and stop caring about what other people might view you as because you sold your car, because you sold your house, and people look at you a little strange and they're questioning you, it's not about what they think. It's a matter of your life and your walk. This is your life. This is your journey. And ultimately, it's your decision. So that is kind of where I'm at with this. I really hope that me just writing up your budget, or if you are one that's in a similar boat as this, gives you a little bit of encouragement that, you know what? You got this. You got this. It all depends on you changing your mindset first. It's not about what other people think or say, because this is your life. So I really hope that you are encouraged. Stick to it. You can do anything that you set your mind to. It takes dedication, it takes discipline and focus. The only person that can achieve this is you, and you have to work through it, and you have to make certain sacrifices. But I promise you, the moment that you start celebrating those little wins of you paying off your collections, of you not giving out so much money every paycheck, and you're not feeling bombarded with the stress, you are gonna have the best life. And it's gonna encourage the people that are around you because of your story. So I believe in you. Work through this, figure out what you could take away from what I said and make it unique to you. So again, this is just my recommendations. This is how I would look at someone's budget in a situation like this if I woke up in your shoes. I hope that this kind of helped you, and I really hope that this bill tracker especially gives you a peace of mind where you can see what you're spending paycheck to paycheck. If you are wanting to maybe be the next budget with a friend on my channel, then I'll leave the link for you to fill out your information. It's a Google document, so make sure you fill it as completely as possible. I really hope that you stay motivated to become financially free. If you liked it, make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe for more budget related videos, and I will see you guys right here in a brand new video. Bye guys!